Hi, everybody. I just want to introduce myself. My name is Kendra Watkins, and I am the owner and founder of a company called Hope Financial Coaching. And I work with clients to help them reach all of their financial goals. So whether that be increasing their savings, decreasing their debt, maybe they're saving up for a big event, just helping them get organized with their finances, helping them get to a place that they feel comfortable and confident about handling their finances, and creating a life that they're proud of, and that we all work hard. We all have different behaviors with money. We're going to talk about that a little bit here in a minute. But just really kind of narrowing that in and getting ourselves to a place that we're comfortable and we're confident and we're in control of our financial life. It just decreases stress. It brings us joy. It gets us to a place that we can just finally enjoy who we are, what we were made for, and all of the hard work that we're doing. So I'm just presenting today. I wanted to give you some great tidbits to start the new year. So the things I'm going to talk about three things today. First, I'm going to talk about how to start a budget for 2021 that actually works. That's the key there, a budget that actually works. A lot of us were caught off guard in 2020 with everything that went on, all the craziness we've been dealing with. That has affected some people's jobs, the way they've spent money, saved money, handled money, that sort of thing. And I think it's really alerted us all to the fact that we do need to be more responsible in this area. No matter what end of the spectrum that you're on, it's really important to be organized, be confident, be in control. So the next thing we're going to talk about is setting financial goals for the new year. And that doesn't just have to be for 2021, but you can set financial goals for a year or two down the road, even a month ahead. If you have a big event you're saving for, maybe there's something you've wanted to do with your home, purchase a new car, something like that you need to save up for. So we're going to talk about how do we set those goals, how do we break them down so they're manageable, and how do we achieve them. And then the third thing is, how do we stay focused in times of stress, in times of uncertainty? This is the big one. I think this is the big one that we really have all learned a lot this year. We all want to be in the right place moving forward to 2021. So how do we stay focused? Because it's really easy to get off track, especially with finances, especially if it's not your most favorite thing to do, which I know is the case for a lot of people. It's kind of one of those things that takes a back burner. It's not fun. We don't want to have those conversations. We don't want to face, our money behaviors. We don't want to see it on paper. We don't want to bring attention to it. It's hard. It's not fun. So I'm here to hopefully give you some tips in these areas so that you can be confident, you can have goals, and you can stay focused. So how do we start a budget that works? Well, I have this great program that I use. It's called Every Dollar. You may have heard of it. I'm a big fan of Dave Ramsey's program, so you'll hear me mention a lot of things that he does and uses. And so he created this app, his team did, called Every Dollar. So I'm going to share my screen here, and I am going to give you a little snapshot here of what that looks like. Okay, so this is, the great thing about this app is that it works on your computer, so you can just go to everydollar.com and log in that way. You can also get the app on your phone or your iPad or whatever it is that you use. So if you're out and about and you're wanting to stay on track of your budget while you're shopping, you can pull up that app and see exactly how much money you have left or how much you have spent in each of those different categories. So I'm just going to give you a quick little overview here so you kind of have an idea. So when you pull up the app, each of these little categories is customizable. So you can click in here and you can rename things, you can delete things, you can add things at the bottom of each category. So you can really customize this to fit your specific situation. So what the idea is we call this a zero-based budget. So up here at the top, when it's green and it says it's an every dollar budget, that means that you have reached that zero-based budget status. So I know that sounds kind of funny. You're thinking, well, I don't want zero in my account, but that's not what that means. So a zero-based budget just simply means that you have your income and you're giving every single dollar that you earn a name and a place. So I just did this based on some average percentages and average household income. This is kind of my example that I use. So if we have a paycheck coming in, whether this is a single paycheck or two people married or whatever it be, but let's say that your paycheck that gets deposited into your account is $5,500 a month. Okay, and so there's different categories. I do love to tithe. It's a big part of my faith. Again, these are customizable, so you can change these as you need. So I've put tithing here. We'll talk about the emergency fund in a little bit, but our rent or our mortgage, our water, so you're just putting down, now this first column here, the planned, this is your budget. So this is what you are thinking or planning to spend for the month. So whether you know exactly what that amount is, so like your rent or mortgage, it should be the same every month, or whether you're guessing a little bit, like with water and gas and electricity that fluctuates a little bit, you can put in kind of an average based on what it has been in the past. Okay, so just going down, you can kind of see gas, food, clothing, pet care, if you have pets, subscriptions, health, insurance, and then we get down here to the not fun part, our debt. So we've got our credit card payment, vehicle payment, maybe student loans. So if we had maybe put 100 here for credit cards, you can see that we're $50 over budget, which means we've overspent our income. Okay, so let's say we had not put enough, that we've got $25 left to budget. So you can put $25 in any other category. So that's kind of how it works. And you want to get to this every dollar budget status where it's green and gives you that great exclamation point. So this, what I love about this app is, you can see on this column on the right that you can see that here's your remaining amount. You can switch that to show how much you've spent instead. So you can customize that. So if you would rather see, well, how much have I spent on each of these categories, click that. If you want to see what is remaining to spend, you can click on that. Now, this is a free app. There is a paid version. So the free version, you have to go in here and you have to manually put in your transactions as they clear your bank. So for example, let's say you're looking at your online banking. You had gone to, let's say, King Soopers and you bought some groceries and it was $75. And so you can go in here and you can enter that and you can put that right to, if I can spell, groceries. There it is. Okay, and so now you can see if you go down to your grocery, okay, you've got $525 left to spend. Again, if you change that, you've spent $75. So if now the paid version of this app, which I love too, is only $99 a year. I think that's what it was last time I checked. And you can link it to your bank. So if you click here, you can find your bank, you can try it free for 15 days, but it connects right to your bank. So as transactions clear your online banking, they will pop up right over here. It'll say that you have 10 new transactions. And at that point, when you click on it, it won't look like that, but your transactions will show up here and you literally can just click and drag them over to whatever category they fit to. If you want to split it between a couple categories, you can click on the transaction and say split, and you could put, maybe some to household and some to groceries. So it's really, really a great app. It also helps track your debt. So at the very beginning of setting up the app, it asks you what's your total credit card amount that you have due, what's your total vehicle payment, any debts that you have, and then it helps you really work toward getting those paid off. So any extra money that you have after doing your budget, you can throw at those items and help get yourself out of debt quickly. So it's really a great place to to track everything. So that is one of my favorite things there. Okay, great. So the other thing that I recommend for starting a budget that actually works. So we talked about the app, having a great program. You don't have to use that specific app, but just having something that you're accountable for. So something that actually is on paper or on an app or on your computer, but something that you can actually see where you're at all times. Also, one thing that helped my family a lot when we were working through the Dave Ramsey program and working to get out of debt was we had a certain categories that we always overspent in. And one of those was eating out. We love to go out and eat. It's one of my favorite things to do. So what we did was we did an envelope system. So we said, okay, if we're going to budget, $200 a month to go out and eat for our family of 4, we are going to take that 200, we're going to go to the bank, get the $200, put it in an envelope, and then when we go out and eat, we're only going to use the money from that envelope. It really helps you stay on track in those categories that you tend to overspend in. You can do this on the computer too if you give yourself kind of a little category that you can keep track of. I know a lot of places right now aren't accepting cash, but hopefully that will change here soon. But really having that cash in the envelope is a really great way to keep yourself from overspending, because simply when the money's gone, it's gone and you can't spend anymore. So that's a great tool. Another thing that my husband and I found helpful was having a weekly budget meeting. I know that sounds frequent, but when we were really working hard to get our finances in control and get our financial life really in a great spot, we found that just that weekly check-in was so important. So I work with a lot of clients who, getting their spouse on board was difficult. But, if you make it fun, so I always tell people, I work with some engaged couples through this, but I say, make it fun, make it like a date night. I know that sounds kind of lame that you're going to have a date night, talk about finances, but do something that's joyful at the same time. So maybe go for a cup of coffee, or maybe you want to make like a dinner night, and then right before you're going to talk about your budget, just real quick, just to check in. So just make it something that is also joyful, a time to get together and a time to just stay on track and communicate. Because communication, especially with spouses, is so, so, so important. So that's a tidbit there. Okay, great. And for those of you that aren't married, find an accountability partner. So if you are doing this alone, maybe you're single, find somebody that is close to you that you trust, that is going to be honest with you, and have them be your accountability partner. You don't have to necessarily tell them exactly how much money you have and each, how much money you have in each category budgeted and those kind of things. But definitely have that person that you can talk to, that you can say, hey, I way overspent this month on groceries. And they can have that conversation with you, encourage you, help you get back on track. Just somebody that you really trust that's really going to be honest with you, and also, be a little hard on you when you're maybe starting to steer away. So great. Okay. Our next thing that we're going to talk about is setting financial goals. So it's so important that we have goals of any kind when we're trying to achieve something. So whether that, I always compare finances to like a diet or weight loss. So if we don't have a goal that we're working toward, it becomes a lot more difficult. It becomes kind of that mindset of, well, why are we doing this? What's the point? But if you have those goals, then that's something to work toward. That's something to measure your achievements and see how you're doing. So set a monthly goal, maybe say, hey, this month, let's try to spend, half of what we normally do on going out to eat. Or let's try to spend half of what we normally do on entertainment. Let's try to find some free fun things to do instead of paying a lot of money, and maybe use that money to get out of debt or increase our savings instead. So give yourself those little goals, and then give yourself some big goals. So say maybe by the end of the year, I want to be able to pay off all my credit cards, or by the end of the year, I want to be able to save up enough money in our savings account to go on a vacation next summer. So just give yourself some small goals to weigh in at, and some larger goals to be excited about, to work toward. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so then we're going to talk about staying how do we stay focused? That's right, that was the last one. How to stay focused in times of stress and uncertainty. So the biggest thing here is as we start to do a budget and we see it on paper and it's absolutely shocking, we're like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe we were actually spending that much money on whatever it was, but here it is, it's on paper, we've seen it, it's in front of us. Now what do we do? How do we stay focused? How do we not just say, well, that was fun, that was a cute exercise, we're done, I don't want to do this anymore, this isn't fun, let's just go back to how we've always done it. So what do we do that gets us to behave different? Well, that's just the thing. It's our behavior with money. So again, I'm going to compare this a little bit to a diet. So when we're trying to lose weight, we have to change our behavior with food or our behavior with exercise. We have to change our behavior in order to start to make changes in a different direction. The same is true for money. So if we've had a bad habit, and I love Starbucks, so I'm not bashing on Starbucks, I'm just going to use it as an example because it's real, but let's say we have a bad habit of going to Starbucks every single day for that favorite drink that we have. Me, by the way, I do have this problem, so I have to really stay focused. So what do we do? How do we change that behavior? Okay, so maybe we say, okay, well, at 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to set a timer and I'm going to walk over to my coffee pot that I have at home and I'm going to make myself a coffee, but I'm going to order myself my favorite syrup that I'm going to put in my coffee and I'm going to try to recreate that Starbucks drink a little bit just so that it, may not be exact, but it's going to be close enough that, hopefully that will help you replace that little urge at Starbucks. So just changing those little behaviors, find those things that cause you to lose focus, lose traction, those areas that are easy to splurge in, where you overspend, kind of find what those things are and then have something to combat that. Do something different, make a small change that habit, change that routine, and change that behavior with how we work with money. Also, a lot of people think of finances as a negative thing. Like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. It's not fun. I don't love it. It's stressful. We're fine. We don't need to do anything detailed. We've been this way for a long time and we're good. And so, but changing that behavior, saying, actually, if we really pay attention to our finances this year, if we have those goals and we work on this budget and we stay on track, think of where we can be at the end of the year. Think of the fact that we maybe could get out of debt. Think of the fact that we could increase our savings so that a catastrophic event happens, we're covered, we're not stressed, we're not worried. If we have to switch jobs, we're not worrying about that loss of income for a month or two. Going on that vacation at the end of the year and paying cash for it, not letting that vacation follow us home and then having to pay for it for months afterward. Getting rid of that student loan debt, really starting to make a dent in that. Just changing those behaviors and those thought patterns and just shifting it to a more positive focus. So I hope this was helpful, you guys. I love, love, love working with people on their personal finances. It's a huge passion of mine. I have seen so many wonderful things happen in people's lives, changes with their families, changes in their behaviors, just that joyful smile. They've come into, on our first meeting, they come in and they just feel, you can just see that weight on their shoulders. It's just heavy. But by the time we've met a couple of times, you can just see kind of that joy and that excitement, and they're actually achieving some things and doing things that they didn't even think was possible for themselves. So I would love to help you as well. Stay tuned because I'm going to be coming out with some group classes and also some individual opportunities. So stay tuned. Thank you so much. And I hope you all have a wonderful day.